Trump was on Newsmax with his former CIA head, NSA head, what I forget, Rick Grinnell's port. This is who Trump put in charge of all your secrets, and he's now sharing a couch with this dude who he's telling everything he said to. I'm just saying, whatever, and not even wearing a tie. Pathetic. So Trump was on Newsmax, and I have not heard this.
Good morning. Welcome back in.
And I'm excited. I know you're excited. We're all excited. This is going to be.
Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty alongside the
Hi, Rob Finnerty.
Former Director of National Security, Rick Grinnell. Joining us right now is the 45th President of the United States, President Donald Trump. Mr. President, good morning. Such a pleasure having you on.
Good morning.
Mr. President, it's Rick.
Good morning.
Hi, Rick. What a job Rick did. I have to tell your audience, this guy was a star. So I love talking
Yeah, he's a star. That's why he's now on Newsmax.
to Rick. He called. He said, "Would you do the show?" I said, "Absolutely, Rick." He did
Yeah, he had so much other stuff.
a great job.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Greetings from Matt. I hope Melania is doing well. We want to
What does he have an answer for Melania? Does he have a? Is she outgoing?
get right into so many questions. I know you're going back to the MAGA rallies, which is very exciting for so many people. I know we're going to.
Yeah, totally. I mean, not the ones that left early, but everybody else. By the way, notice the total lack of Melania. Rick says hi. That kind of like normal sweetness. Like,
Start in Ohio, then you're going to go to Florida. Can you tell us why you're doing these?
yeah, because we can't figure it. We watched the last one, and we really don't know.
And are they going to continue through the summer and through the next couple of years?
Yeah, just randomly.
Well, people wanted him. They wanted.
Yeah, that's why you do them.
Hope this country again it's so troubled with the inflation, with the gasoline prices.
Oh boy, if I may, just for 1 second, new jobs report. I don't want to be. I mean, it's kind of a dick move. This little guy right here. Now you have to before I show you this, you have to remember this is very important. It's a distinction you must recognize that the last jobs report was all Biden's fault. Okay, so between this new jobs report and the last jobs report, we have now officially shifted in right-wing world to anything that happens to the job market and the economy from now on is Biden's fault. Just to clarify. It's hiring jumped in June. Ooh, look at that. Oh, look at this little thing. Oh, look at that. Brrr, why? Look at that. Anxieties over a lag in hiring lifted on Friday as the government reported that employers added 850,000 workers in June, the largest monthly gain since last summer. Wages jumped for the third month in a row, a sign that employers are trying to attract applicants with higher pay and that workers are gaining bargaining power. Unemployment slightly increased. That was people who went on and off the job market. 5.9% though, still below 6%. The economic healing from the pandemic is, however, far from finished. The unemployment rate rose slightly to 5.9%. Share of working age population active in the labor force was unchanged at 61.6%, showing that millions who dropped out have yet to return. So there's still even room to grow in the job market. An accelerated rate of early retirements means that some of those workers will never come back because they don't need to work anymore, because they are retired. Today, there are more job openings than before the pandemic and fewer people in the labor force, said Becky Frankowitz, which is good for wages, by the way. The single defining challenge for employers is enticing American workers back to the workforce. Well, as soon as the UI is ended and people have to, that's what will happen, and we know this. But I just want you to remember that anything that happens from the last jobs report forward, all Biden. It's all on him. Just recognize it. It's terrible. I know.
With the fact that in a very short period of minutes, we will
You know what?
no longer be energy independent.
Yeah, by the end of this interview, as a matter of fact, before they go to the first commercial break, we will no longer be energy independent. Wait, hold on.
The summer and through the next couple of years.
What? Listen to this. And the next, literally, it's imminent. It's now.
Well, people wanted them. They want hope. This country again it's so troubled with the inflation, with the gasoline prices, with the fact that in a very short period of minutes we will no longer be energy independent, something we were for the first time ever under our great administration. And so many other reasons. You look at inflation, what it's doing to people, and what it's going to do. Everyone knows it's inevitable.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. I mean, it's gonna be temporary due to supply chain issues and stuff. But I mean, let's just pretend it's the Carter administration.
Inevitable. It's sitting there with a hatchet in its hands, and it's a very dangerous thing, a very bad thing.
Inflation is sitting there with a hatchet in its hands.
For our country, we never had it so good as we had it, Rick. You know that we had, and then COVID came in.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, COVID ruined everything. I mean, you had a pandemic response team, you scuttled it. They might have even been able to fend off the greater part of this, but yeah.
And then we built it back up again, and did an incredible job, and came up with the vaccines, which was done in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't have happened. So we did this job, and people just the election was a disgrace. As far as I was concerned, probably the most.
Well, yes, it was disgraceful that you ran. Yeah,
probably the most dishonest election we've ever had in this country. I don't think "probably" is even the appropriate word. And the people.
Yeah, I would take out the probably. It makes you sound wishy-washy.
Really want to have hope.
Hope Hicks, definitely. I think a lot of people would turn out for a Hope Hicks rally.
They got cheated on the election. It was rigged. They did so many different things to make sure that, one, we got a record number of votes. We got 75 million votes, 12 million more than last time. That never happened before for a sitting president, either of.
Well, obviously, mail-in votes work, and it's something we should continue. Because the availability, the ability to vote, never mind, this is so dumb.
Those two numbers, 12 million more. They said we needed 1 million more. I got 12 million more. We got 63 then 75. And that was, really disheartening to a lot of people. And there's so many people asking for the rallies. The rallies are something that we can do that nobody else can do because
nobody else can do a Trump rally. I mean, nobody else has that merch.
If somebody else calls for a rally, they have 12 people show up, and that's including Biden. And sort of interesting, you have 45,000, 50,000 people show up to these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, you saw the last one. Must have been 50,000 brain cells there spread out over.
And then you lose the state. Oh really? I don't think so. So
right.
It's just one of those things.
Hi, dum-dum. All the states have, with rare exception, especially the ones you're talking about, have millions of people in them. And so having 45,000 full-on sycophants that follow you around is not indicative of a greater political movement. It ain't. Ask anybody who's on a cult show.
Things he couldn't fill up the circles, and then all of a sudden they miraculously won. No, but a lot of things are happening about that subject, and we'll see how that all works out. But Rick.
Yeah, it won't. But I mean, it did work out. He's, Biden's president. He's going to stay that way.
Rick was a star, Rob. I'll tell you, he was great. We loved having him. He's a character. He's a real piece of work, and that's okay. And it's great to be with you, Rick.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Jesus, this is your head of national security.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Tell us an anecdote about something that happened, about a decision the two of you were talking about, Syria, something with meat on it.
You are still the most popular Republican in the party, and an endorsement.
Yeah, this is the world's shortest NBA player.
Endorsement from you goes a long way. I know when we look behind the scenes, there are so many people trying to get your endorsement, people pretending to have your endorsement in some cases in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
And what we need to understand is what are the criteria that you use? I know people on your team
break it
are
down.
all lobbying you. Others are trying to get to you. But
Yeah.
what is the criteria?
Yeah, what's your checklist like besides they will give you a rusty trombone and keep their eyes open the whole time?
That Donald J. Trump uses in order to give that coveted
And we do mean uses.
endorsement.
Well, sometimes it's just a touch or a feel. It's
Okay, so that's how Boebert got it.
feeling that you have for somebody that you know for a long time, like you and Robert, who you had on before, was terrific, a terrific guy too. And
He's terrific, and he's a terrific guy.
if you were running for something, Rick, I don't know what you're running for. I hear all sorts of things about California.
Mr. President,
and
don't
everything,
give anything away, okay?
Yep, you'll let me know. I don't know. I hear a lot. That's a big mess
Were you going to run for Devin Nunes' seat?
out there, that's for sure. But no, it's
Patreons assemble.
a feeling that you have to have for somebody. But I can tell you one criteria that is a must is anybody, and there aren't many of them, anybody that voted for the impeachment hoax, they don't get the endorsement. That I can tell you.
And I know
Anybody
that
went with,
on
let's
this
impeach
weekend,
Trump and fake Republicans, anybody that voted for the impeachment hoax doesn't get it. But there weren't too many of them. And
So that's pretty much, that's as long as they didn't vote for impeachment, that's pretty much enough. That's enough of a big ass kiss.
I think most of them are being, if not all, they're being primaried right now. So that's good.
Yes, I'm for it. Please go around the country chasing Republicans down a hole. I don't care. This is my favorite part. Like the rest of the speech or the interviews that he gives, both are so boring and it's the same shit over and over again. But my favorite part is when he gets to attacking rhinos. It's just so it makes me feel all, it warms the cockles.
I'll be helping
Amy, I see you.
their opponent. But
I'm just doing this. So, don't post. Why are people? Let's see. That's got to be in here somewhere. Hold on.
I feel that just somebody that's very, very, doesn't have to necessarily agree with me and everything, but somebody that's really capable and can get the job done. And, when I went to Washington.
And the job, of course, is kissing his ass.
Having not been a politician, I didn't know Rick, and I didn't know a lot of very, very capable people because it was.
That's true. Yeah, it is true that in his entire business life as a phony billionaire, he did not know a lot of capable people.
It wasn't my thing. I was doing other things. And
with Eric.
Now I know everybody. I know the people. And I know the good from the bad. And there are a lot of great people in Washington and a lot of people that are unsung. The great ones you don't speak about, you don't hear about too much. And we have.
Yeah, that's a great example. Like people, sometimes you just don't hear about the great people. Obviously, the people you hear about a lot who are just all over, just publicity hounds or whatever, like they're not the good ones. The good ones are the one, right? Oh, sorry.
We have a lot of great people in Washington, and they don't get the credit. And some bad ones get the credit, wrong kind of credit, but you hear about them. So.
You mean you?
I know one person you're going to be endorsing is Max Miller, right?
Really,
this
in
weekend?
my eyes, very good.
Oh, this is right before the Wellington, Ohio thing.
Mr. President, this weekend you'll be endorsing Max Miller?
I will be endorsing. Max Miller's running against this Anthony Gonzalez, who's a terrible congressman, terrible. And Max is an outstanding guy. You knew him from the administration. Yep. He's outstanding. He's young, he's strong, he's vibrant, he has ideas. He loves Ohio, and he loves our country, and he'll be great.
Well, we're excited, Mr. President, that you're going to be out there holding these rallies again. Anthony Gonzalez, the Republican congressman, did vote for impeachment, which I know.
Yeah, so he basically, that whole rally, the rallies he's doing are either stuff he can do that gathers people near his, near Mar-a-Lago or in Florida, or simply to attack Republican congresspeople. It's gorgeous.
Which I know, as you said, is part of the reason that you're going to be there just outside Cleveland tomorrow. We'll cover that throughout its entirety here on Newsmax.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Today is day 155 of Joe Biden in office. I don't remember critical race theory prior to January 20th, but my goodness, how quickly.
That's because that's when you guys started talking about it. It was diversity training before that, and then you guys. It's kind of like when you talk about like Social Security or making sure that it's it matches cost of living or something. That's just Social Security when normal people are talking about it. When you guys talk about it, it becomes communism.
Quickly, things have changed. The Biden administration is forcing this
Because you have nothing else to attack on.
This woke indoctrination into our military. I know you have an announcement about that coming soon. Also, into our schools. You've got a young
It's so weird that his hand is reaching through Rick Grinnell's camera.
son, Barron. If they have their way, this is going to be in every single school
Sorry.
in America.
Oh, yeah? Oh, Horton, this goes worse? Oh,
Disgrace, and you didn't have it or hear it, but it existed during us, and I ended it. I would terminate it everywhere it popped up its ugly head. We would terminate it, and we terminated it very
he's getting a little gravelly.
strongly. I mean, we really...
Yeah, he terminated it very strongly. Not like the Terminator with a Nerf gun. No.
went after it, and it ended. And as soon as they came in, they're back to...
Oh, like immigration. Like the wall stopped it, but after somebody else takes over, the wall doesn't work
putting
anymore.
it up. And General Milley, and I watched his statement. It was pathetic. I watched the statements of some others, your head of the Navy. It was pathetic. And they didn't talk that way when I was around, I can tell you.
Right.
They didn't talk that way, or I would have gotten rid of them in 2 minutes. But in particular, Navy and Milley, just sad.
Yeah, Navy. Mr. Navy to you.
Pathetic statements.
Colonel Navy.
Mr. President, it's Rob Finnerty. I want to talk about the border. The administration clearly is following the leader. They have the former president, Donald J. Trump, on their mind. It seems like every single day. Kamala Harris will visit the border today. Why do you think that you play such a big role in how they govern?
They don't. He doesn't. They have a strategy. They established the dates when she was going to go. They worked it out. She's doing other stuff too. It's only. I mean, both of them have their eyes closed because they're expecting him to spit when he talks.
Well, in the border, we had a border that was the best in the history of our country. Very few people came through.
Because of COVID?
And when they did, we got them, and we got them out.
That's true of 8,800 unaccompanied minors that they dumped in Mexico.
We stopped catch and release, which is not easy to do. Rick can tell you. That was a hard project. We had to go through courts. We had to go through a whole legal system. They immediately reinstated. You know what catch and release is, Rob?
Let me see. It's you catch somebody and you release them, and and they're a murderer, rapist. You just like, please, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Is that
you catch somebody, even a very
you catch them? That's where it gets its name.
Vicious criminal, because as you know, they're letting their people out of the jails because they want to have nice, clean, empty jails. Let the United States take care of these people. So we catch somebody, a criminal, and we have no.
Did he just visit Wall's End?
Nothing else we can do. We catch him, we take his name, and we release him into the United States. We have stay in Mexico, which I understand they're losing. If they do that, we're finished. This country is being destroyed by what they're doing. And you're talking about millions of people coming into our country, and we have no idea who those people are. And many of them are serious, serious criminals, murderers.
Yeah, they're all dressed as 8-year-olds.
Rapists.
Yeah, the women are the worst.
Drug dealers, human traffickers of women.
Yeah, these little 9-year-old Breaking Bad characters.
Women mostly, human traffickers. These are vicious people, smart people, and they got plenty of money. They've made plenty of money. And there's nobody that had a bigger upside. You know, I kept Russia down. I was the one that stopped the pipeline to Europe. Nobody thought that could be done. You know, they always say,
"Oh, well, it didn't. They continued to build it. It's done."
Trump is so wonderful to Russia. There's nobody that's been tougher on Russia, and I got along very well with Putin. We got along very well, but
why wouldn't you? I mean, he murders people. He pushes doctors out of third-floor windows.
Stop the pipeline. Rick can tell you that. Nobody could believe it.
Right.
And Biden comes in, he opens up the pipeline. He got nothing for it. It's crazy.
Nothing.
But
Nothing.
He did stop the Keystone Pipeline, and the real number is 48,000
we've seen this a bunch of times.
jobs. Stopped
The
it
same
cold.
thing.
And that union should be dissolved because
Day
they
one.
represented him so badly. They actually supported Biden, and the first move he made was to destroy the people in that union. Now, the workers, I'll bet, voted for me.
No, not technically, but can I just show, just so we have a pipeline context? This just came across my Twitter feed. Some of you may have seen this, or perhaps not. The ocean in the Gulf of Mexico is on fire. A pipeline ruptured, and it looks like a volcano. I mean, I think, like, I thought this was fake when I saw it. It looks like something from a disaster movie. Yeah. Anybody want some boiled fish? Yeah, that's today. But you know, energy independence.
But the union.
But let a pipe. Imagine. By the way, imagine this a pipeline, which is what's happening here. This is a pipeline ruptured under the Gulf of Mexico, and it's burning with such heat that it is boiling the ocean. It's probably, you know, like, that's craziness. Honest to God, I would not be shocked if this was fake, by the way, because it looks crazy. But imagine this above ground, somewhere around the middle of Arkansas. That's why no Keystone Pipeline, just so you know, because it ain't even our oil. Yeah, so.
Union heads they shouldn't pay dues. Anybody listening, don't pay your dues, because that union did one bad job of representing you.
And we have a Supreme.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, don't pay your dues. Yeah, whatever you do, don't pay them. Yeah, just get your union membership revoked and don't get a job.
Court decision that allows them not to pay their dues and keep their jobs. So, Mr. President,
right.
one issue that we spent a long time talking about in the Oval Office was big tech and their march towards what they're doing against conservatives and others. Do you think it's time to break up big tech?
Well,
yes, break it up into little pieces like Gitter.
watch next week, because you'll see me do something about big tech, and people have wanted me to do it a long time. And
yeah, now that you got real power,
it won't be too surprising. They don't love me to talk about it early, but watch what I do next week on big tech. I think you'll find it to be very interesting.
Mr. President, it's Rob Finnerty. Would you support, say, for example, Facebook being forced to sell off Instagram, or Google being forced to sell off YouTube? Would you support something like that?
Well, the problem is they don't get hurt. I've watched all of my life. I've watched these people come in and they have to break up the companies. So now they start selling the companies and they make a fortune.
Right.
A lot of times they make much more money than they would have made without it. And then they just go a different way. No, but something.
I don't know what he said. Do you know what he said? I don't know what that was.
Harsh has to take place when they can.
Thank you, Norman Fox and Ninka Crinkles and Shadow. Which is it? Shadow Woman. Thank you so much for the gifted subs.
Censor conservative voices. Look at me. I had hundreds of millions of followers. Okay, number one on Facebook.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg told me I was number one on Facebook. Number one at dinner. You know, he'd have dinner with me at the White House. He couldn't have been nicer. He would do everything he could to be nice to me, and that's fine. That's fine. I
Not
did
loyal,
not a
though.
lot for him, but you know what?
Yeah, he doesn't owe you loyalty. He's being nice because you're the president of the United States at that time, not because you're a good guy.
He did with lockboxes should be illegal. I mean, I probably think it is. He put lockboxes, spent $500 million on lockboxes.
Yeah, they gave that money to the states to spend on it.
And then they'd come in, oftentimes very late. They'd say, "Where's the lockbox? Where is it?"
Jesus.
And you'd have 97% of the vote for Biden and 3% of the vote for Trump. I'm surprised they.
Yeah, that's because the places that were denied lockboxes were Biden districts in red states. See, that was the whole point. 97%. The percentage isn't the overall count. Like the voters in that area, because of demographics, they knew those areas would be voting for Biden, so they denied them lockboxes. They gave lockboxes to other areas, like where Zuckerberg didn't give money. They already had enough money for lockboxes, and all those came back 97% for Trump.
They gave us 3. That was, again, the most corrupt election in history. But what he did there, I think, should be illegal. You know, you're allowed to give $5,700. He gave $500 million.
Yeah, but not to a candidate, dumbass. It was equally applied.
Now, he gave it through different ways.
Right.
Right, that's the way.
But that's legal?
Well, I know.
But well, there were a bunch of Trump ads that were paid for in rubles. That's legal.
They did it with
on Facebook.
boxes.
Facebook, Mr. President, is a big supporter.
This is what we were fighting. We were fighting people that did things very, very illegally.
Right. We know that Facebook is a big supporter of the Poynter Institute and
All right, whose phone is on? That's just a dick move, Rick.
PolitiFact as well.
Rod. It was, yeah.
The coronavirus obviously is still a big issue today. Do you think that the media, and you know the media I'm talking about, and big tech, do you think that they colluded deliberately to hide information from the American people to have an impact on the election?
Oh, the hydroxy? Yeah, is that where we're going?
Oh, absolutely. Look, Pfizer is a very, very, I don't want to use the word owns, but, you know, essentially they are very close to the FDA. They couldn't stand me because I forced drug prices down. I did favored nations, and if Biden keeps it, we'll have the lowest drug prices anywhere in the world. Nobody could believe I did favored nations.
Well, you haven't. You started a commission to figure out why we don't have favored nations. That is not the same thing. That is like saying, I'm starting a commission to read all the articles about JonBenet Ramsey, and therefore I'm going to take credit for having solved the JonBenet Ramsey case. I did that. Nobody can believe I figured out who it was. I can't tell you who it was, and obviously it'll be years. If somebody else doesn't stop telling you who it was years from now.
Nations means for the audience that...
Just in case, yeah, get a pen.
Take the nation that has the lowest drug price of a certain drug sold by a company. We had to match, meaning...
No, that is not what favored nations means. The favored nations means if, let's say, we're all salaried workers and we're going to get favored nations, and I'm making $10 and you're making $50, we're going to meet somewhere in the middle, like $25. It's going to balance out so that whatever the baseline can be, everybody makes $30. That would be it. You'd lose money, I would gain money. And we would all get the same amount. It doesn't mean we all go... favored nations amongst your employees does not mean you find the lowest paid worker and then pay them all the same. This is one of the most idiotic parts of this description. He does this a lot. He did study it very strongly, it's true.
We match them, so...
No, it doesn't.
Who's ever in the world paying the lowest price, that's the price we get.
No, it isn't.
Nobody could believe I did that.
Well, nobody does believe you did that because you didn't do that. You didn't. Nobody listening to this show, nobody on that show, I mean, we're all looking at you like Rob is looking at you, and even Rick knows you're full of shit. He's doing that kind of shoulder raise. It's bullshit. Like, they're all telling us a subtle story with their physical demeanor.
They dislike Trump. So that was number one.
They dislike Trump.
And the FDA, they never got pushed like they did with me. They used to sit around for 12 years coming up with a vaccine.
Yeah, they just lazy. That was the thing. I mean, it took them 12 years because we didn't actually have, the technology. It was 1964 or something.
And vaccines take on average 3 to 5 years. And they came.
Yeah, if you go back to they average out mRNA vaccines now versus the hundreds of years of medicine before vaccines, and also how long it took to create antibiotics and everything, mix it together, and in 3 to 4 years.
Came in and they told me what their schedule was. I said, "You got to be kidding! We have millions of people dying." And I pushed them, as you know, Rick, because you were there. You were there with some of the screaming. But we got that done in less than 9 months, which is a record. And we did something else. We bought $12 billion worth of vaccine.
Reuters is saying the fire in the Gulf has been extinguished. That's great to know, Peter. By the ocean?
Before we really...
Shouldn't it be easy to extinguish a fire under the ocean?
Knew it worked, but I thought it was going to. But, based
Yeah, you just feel like it. You know what I mean?
on knowledge. And
Yeah, knowledge. He has knowledge. He had a feeling it was going to work. Knowledge. I mean, just start injecting people. Who gives a shit? Honestly, we don't call this Operation Fart Steed for nothing.
Captain's log.
And if we didn't do that, you wouldn't have been getting shot
If you didn't have knowledge.
until October, November of this year. So in other words, no.
By the way, a lot of Trumpers aren't. And all the 3 to 5 years, all the people are like, I'm going to wait until it's FDA approved. Which is the same timeline it was always going to be. And these assholes are why we didn't meet our vaccine, the 70% vaccinated level by July 4th weekend.
Nobody would have had their shot. It was risky, and that included the bottles and the needles and all of the things that went with the vaccine.
By the way, that was in the Democrats' bill. That was in the pandemic response plan.
We would have never been
We've done this. Oh, my God.
equipped to put that into people's arms. And we were able to do that. And, I think it was one of the greatest bets made ever in history because we were heading toward a 1917
Son of a bitch.
Spanish flu.
Right.
Where,
right.
Perhaps 100 million people died. That's what would have happened. And it's been, it's been a miracle. I don't think that children should get it, and I think people should have freedom on getting it. They can't be forced because they do have rights.
Yep.
But look, I'm the vaccine person. I hate to say to some people and to other people, I'm so proud to say. But there's a group of people that don't like the concept of vaccine. And
oh yeah, what group would that be? What the which group?
You should have that freedom. I think.
Yeah, you should have the freedom to be a complete lunatic.
People should get it, but I don't think young people. With young people, their immune system is very strong. This must be very nice, but it's very strong. The immune system of the young, and you can look at. There's one area, 35,000 people died at a certain state, and they had nobody below the age of, I think, 16 died.
Oh, Jersey.
Nobody. They had one person, I think, had a serious condition, a precondition, and that came pretty close, and I think died.
Mr. President, you've been...
Yeah, came pretty close to dying and then died. By the way, just in case we want to cover this, experts in vaccine financing policy say the contract with the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer and a smaller German biotechnology company was risky because the drug could fail future trials. The Trump administration included a safeguard and will not send the money until the vaccine proves to be safe and effective. So, kind of a hedged bet about Pfizer's thing. It's a gamble, but a reasonable one, said Dr. Walter Ornstein, an epidemiologist at Emory University, who worked for the Clinton administration as director of the United States Immunization Program. What the government is doing here, which I think is a good thing, they're helping gear up production so that if this vaccine is licensed, it will be available in large quantities. The Obama administration made a similar bet during the H1N1 swine flu pandemic when it awarded French drug maker Sanofi $190 million in May of 2009 to develop a vaccine against the nascent disease. The drug successfully finished the process 6 months later. What was the record he was saying? 9 months? Yeah, Biden got the shot, and Biden and Obama both got the shot in December of that year, and the drug surfaced, the disease surfaced in May, nearly, a full 5 months after, later in the year than COVID hit the United States. I just want to, can we just settle on that for one goddamn second? Can we just stop? This is like the Obama signing the VA Choice Act. How dumb He's not the first person to come up. This was in the pandemic response team documentation that they left when he scuttled the whole team. When they left, they were like, okay, you're going to fire us, but here, have this. If you do happen to run into a problem, everything you're going to need to do is in here. And one of those things was to follow this particular strategy, which the Obama administration did. The Obama administration pre-bought the H1N1 vaccine before it was FDA approved. It took 6 months. It's 3 months shorter than the time that the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine in particular, was cleared to be used against this. How do people not? All right. How do they not know this? I mean, I know why he doesn't know this, because he's a dum-dum.
You've been right.
Essentially, nobody dies.
You've been right almost all along.
It's 99.999, and so I just feel the young people shouldn't get it. They don't need it.
Yeah. Well, I can attest, Mr. President.
That's a great idea. Thanks, dude. Yeah, the Delta variant's coming through. It's killing more young people. Brilliant
Being in
take.
the Oval Office, no matter what we were doing, you would stop everything if there was a question about the vaccine process. It was a priority, and you would immediately take the time to keep the ball moving. So on behalf of the American
Why wouldn't you?
people, thank you for making that a priority. I want to read a list of issues where you were
Yeah, let's have a lightning round.
right and the media was totally wrong. And then I want you to respond.
Yeah, but nice setup.
Hydroxychloroquine works.
No. Chloroquine. Recent study. This is, by the way, let's see. Let's see. Hydroxychloroquine at a higher dose. Let me find the most recent one. Yeah, here it is. This is what they're referring to. It's very effective in mild to moderate COVID-19, meaning anybody who wouldn't go or it doesn't have the symptoms requiring them to have hospitalization. People who get it and are asymptomatic or barely symptomatic or have flu-like symptoms from COVID, not the kind where you have to be put on a ventilator and proned and all that shit. Those folks do, it's a huge help. It's great. Just like ivermectin works really good if you don't get really sick. It doesn't lower the people who go to the hospital, same number. This is like, we have a drug for allergies that only works for people that don't have allergy attacks. It's amazingly good. It's an incredible, if you take this and you don't have allergies, you won't have a problem during allergy season at all. That's what this is. This isn't a blind study at all. And even this, have been used to treat patients with coronavirus disease 2019. However, evidence on the safety and efficacy of these therapies is limited. It's all anecdotal. And it's only ever, even anecdotally, only ever been shown to help people who would not have been hospitalized in the first place to stay out of the hospital. I don't know what the shit people think this proves. I've looked at half a dozen of these things. They all say this. It's great for mild to moderate COVID. Well, so is staying home and having a nap. No control group, all anecdotal evidence, all of them just pouring it in there, and it's people who never peaked, never had any of the symptoms that would require hospitalization. They tested positive for it, gave it to them, and then they just went home. Same frigging number. And anybody who took it who was showing major symptoms crashed, didn't help at all. It's so dumb. But that's the argument.
The COVID-19.
Yeah. Yes. An aspirin works for a headache. This is true. Unless you have a migraine or unless you have a head injury. This is like saying aspirin works for mild to moderate concussions.
COVID-19 probably came from a Chinese lab.
No, that's not the argument. The argument is we know it came from Wuhan, and the concept, did it come from a wet market because somebody sold meat from the lab in the wet market? The question and the inference that they are trying to push is that it was an intentional attack on the United States from the lab. Everybody knows, and everybody suspected at the time, that there was some linkage between the lab and the disease and the wet market and how it got out. That we were all watching when they shut down Hubei province, when people couldn't leave and they were trying to sneak out. Nobody was surprised by this. But what he wants you to do is go, I knew it all along. I mean, I knew it all along, but I was saying she was handling it and it was no big deal. But it was probably an intentional leak, and they did nothing to stop it coming here because they wanted to attack us. But I had a trade deal to finish, and the ink wasn't even dry. And then after it dried, 5 months later, I sold them the largest order of beef, corn, and soybeans in American history, because I don't think Chamberlain would have given enough, a good enough hand job to Hitler.
Hunter Biden's laptop was real.
No, it wasn't. Hunter Biden's laptop is not real, was not real. I call bullshit. I don't know why he's reading a list and he's like, well, yes, we know all these
Lafayette Square was not cleared for a photo op.
Your own group says.
The Russian bounty story was fake.
No, it was not fake. This is a direct lie. They did not have actionable intelligence, meaning there's the intelligence that we have that we're sure where we could bomb someone for this happening, and we know this person did it, therefore a retaliatory attack is warranted. And then there's the entire other area, which is we know it, but we don't know it enough where we could launch a missile strike and not feel kind of like we're crossing a line on our own ethical level. That's it. That doesn't mean it's fake. That means we don't have what we're hearing as far as intel on this is clear and it's direct, but it's not enough. We don't have enough backup information to launch a military strike on Russia or Russian troops or use it as a targeting point. There's a huge line between those two things. But pretend, yes, I don't know. And the Hunter thing. Yeah.
We did produce vaccines before the end of 2020 in record time.
But you didn't beat the record because H1N1 obviously beat you by 3 months.
Blue state lockdowns didn't work.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did. The high population states are opening up and are getting better, and red states now are even still because of Delta variant and lack of mask mandates and a bunch of anti-vax bullshit are now seeing their hospitals fill up.
Schools should have been opened earlier.
Because fuck kids.
Critical race theory is a disaster for our schools and our country.
And this is something he said last year.
And the wall worked.
Did it? When did it stop working? That's what I want to know about the wall. Maybe Rick can tell us. Maybe Trump. He looks a little confused. But when did the wall stop working? Baroness Ivanka's kids say it right.
What do you have to say to the media who
Ew, that's gross.
Completely got all of these stories wrong, and the echo chamber in Washington just kept
Well, it's just a disgrace,
pounding on
the fake news. I came up with fake news.
Erroneous misinformation.
It is hard, Rob. Rob, what's your name? I don't care.
Well, look, I like to be non-controversial, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. The media in this country, most of it, we have some great people too, but most of it is corrupt. It's corrupt. It's not free. They say and they coordinate with each other in order to help Biden.
To establish facts.
Biden, which is not easy to help.
Apparently it was, because he stomped a mud hole in you and marched it dry last November.
They coordinate like crazy. Look, he got away.
They coordinate like crazy. Sometimes we forget just how odd his English is.
With that thing with the basement where he wouldn't talk and he wouldn't come out for weeks and weeks on end. And
You mean us? Like we were? Like the rest of us? You mean like every other American? Because he wasn't the president and he didn't have the ability to guarantee that everyone around him, until he had the nomination, really had been tested. What? That was the smart thing to do. Biden didn't catch COVID. Understand this for a second. May I? Biden, the oldest guy running, who ran on a center-left policy point, which nobody said could win, and he was going to get trumped by, the hyper-liberal and the hyper-progressive left. They were going to, there was no way he had a chance. He was too old, blah, 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 wrong time, all that stuff. Conducted a campaign through the entire thing, mopped the floor with everybody, had a strategy, it worked out, beat him in every debate, handily, never caught COVID, didn't get it, did not, ain't gonna get it.
And he got away with that. Can you imagine if I did that? I'm going to stay in the basement for the next 6 months.
You wouldn't be able to stay in the basement. That's not even an option,
Mr. President.
Well, no, because you'd fart the place up and everybody's eyes would be watering and you couldn't run the country.
It's a terrible thing that happened. A terrible, terrible thing. And I mean,
that you lost and a guy who hung out in his basement kicked your ass. This is honest to God. This is like what, the Cheeto Fingers mom's basement kind of kid wins the Olympics, according to this.
I mean, you
Thanks,
named
Cindy.
some, and you're right, but we could name some that are really, really bad. There are many things that are just as bad that they just don't talk about. In other words, it's not that they take a position, but they won't talk about things that have to be talked about because it's bad for their agenda, their policy, whatever their policy is. When you think about it, what is their policy? They don't want a wall. They want open borders. They want millions of people pouring into our country, and they have no idea who the people are, and the jails are being emptied out. They want...
Right, yeah, you did that part already.
A certain type of education that says our country is terrible, and a certain race is terrible. A certain race.
A certain race. A certain race. A certain race is terrible. Interesting. Because I mean, if you watch, Ben Shapiro's show. You'd kind of get the feeling that a certain race is terrible too, and maybe they don't overlap, maybe not. I don't quite know.
Race of which you happen to be a member is terrible.
Oh, okay, so white people.
They want so much. They want a lousy military. They don't.
By the way, I'm just in case you're just listening to this later. I'm a white person, voted for Joe Biden, who's white, and I don't hate white people. I don't think white people are intrinsically terrible. I actually am not in the habit of looking at someone's skin color and making a complete and utter value judgment on who they are. Just doesn't ring my bell, as it were.
They don't want to take care of their military. They want to hand money away to the Green New Deal, even though China, Russia, India, and the other countries are doing zero. China is opening up coal-fired plants by the thousands.
Right now, they are.
Hold on. China coal plants. Let's see. Chinese people Congress. When is this? This is March 24th. Coal power boosted in a 14-year plan. I'm trying to see if there's thousands in here. Let's see. A total of 247 gigawatts of power. There's 75 gigawatts, 13 gigawatts, 47 gigawatts, 40 gigawatts. 12 carbon monoxide. 1 billion kind of flatness carbon dioxide remains to be seen. Yeah, I don't see anything in this article about thousands of plants being opened. Yeah. Man, I know they use them. Here, and this is the harshest article I could find. This is from Yale Environmental 360. This is just recent. Despite pledges to cut emissions, China goes on a coal spree. China is building large numbers of coal-fired power plants to drive its post-pandemic economy. The government has promised a CO2 emissions peak by 2030, but the new coal binge jeopardizes both China's decarbonization plans and global efforts to tackle climate change. It does not say, let's see, I'm down the pandemic, so about a 15-year plan to boosted China's carbon dioxide emissions 4% in the second half of 2020, right? Because everything kicked back in and it dropped, so percentages based on that, whatever. I'm seeing the gigawatt level, like how much, 21 gigawatts? But not the number of the actual thousands of plants. But we'll,
They are, yeah.
By the thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
And then they're talking.
Hold on. So maybe I just need to look up thousands of new Chinese coal plants. How many will China build? Hundreds. Okay, and this is 2020. Analysis: will China build hundreds? Well, thousands, hundreds in the 2020s. China's 14-year plan, one of the world's largest overturned plan, blah, 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 expected ahead of the FYP's publication. Powerful stakeholders such as network operator, state grid, and distributor China Electric Council are allowing for targets that would allow hundreds of new coal-fired power plants to be built, and a recent update to the traffic light system. All right. The push for more coal, it doesn't say how many hundreds or whether they're hundreds. China's economic mirror, okay, blah, blah, blah. Coal-fired, let's see. Capacity additions and utilization. Newly added capacity, utilization. This is what's being used, capacity, usage. So their usage is humming right along, and their capacity actually dipped right before 2019. So it's coming up from its lowest point in 2018. That's interesting. China for the year, 1,100 gigawatts. Targets similar nature over 14, do blah blah. Roots of overcapacity. Yeah, nope. Hundreds over the 20s, meaning in the next decade, but not thousands in the last 5 months.
Talking Green New Deal. They talk about it, but they don't do it. And it's, and if they don't do it, it's an interesting planet, right? We're here. China's right next door relative to the world, relative to
No, it's not.
To the universe. And
definitely relative to the universe, it's right next door. In kind of a so's the moon kind of a way.
If India, China, Russia, if they don't do it, then it's just a hopeless situation. And I see these people, they want to spend
so because they're not doing it, we do nothing.
So much money, and we're always the ones to spend the big money. You take a look at this ridiculous Paris Accord, the environmental accord. Well, we will have spent we're going to spend trillions of dollars. China's not going to spend 10 cents. They don't even kick in for 10 years. And Russia goes by a different standard, which is so low that they'll never have to spend money. But we have to go for trillions of dollars, and
yeah, but that's true of all of their economic development.
We'll have to close businesses in order to meet the standard.
Yeah, Mr. President, you were president for 4 fucking years and you did nothing up that front. Yeah, shut up. I know. That's the weird part. Is it's like he was never president. It's like we've gone through a little time loop and he's back during the Obama administration bitching about stuff like he didn't actually have control of the levers of power.
Standard.
Yeah.
And
Mr.
it's
President,
ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we just can't do that. We just can't do that, and we're not going to.
Mr. President, I'd like to talk to you about
We're definitely not. Yeah, you'll be back by August. I don't know what I'm worried about.
Your former colleague, the good doctor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, somebody who's been on TV quite frequently over the last 17 or so months. We're learning
as often as he can.
Yeah, as often as he can, almost every.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know why they think this is a hit on Fauci, because as the head of the task force, as far as the NIH and the CDC teams, he's the highest voice on that. They had Birx on a lot too. She just sucked and blew it for everybody. And Fauci everybody's like, okay, this is usable information. But nobody becomes like a camera hound in a single year. especially if during the AIDS crisis and all that kind of stuff, he wasn't showboating. But all of a sudden, and beyond that, I don't know why they think, considering who this guy is, why they consider that a hit.
Almost every single Sunday. I'm wondering if you think now, as we learn more and more about his credibility, and you worked intimately with him, or he worked under you intimately, especially in the early days of the virus, do you think that he's been dishonest with the American people, maybe even deliberately?
Yeah, he wanted to kill people. That's the one thing you need to know.
Well, I think Anthony, who I hate to say this, you might know that. I got along with him. He'd say, "Sir, just call me."
Dude, you get along with Kim Jong-un. That's not a standard.
Tony, just call me Tony.
Right.
He was a very good promoter. I don't think he was a very good doctor, but he was a very good promoter. Don't forget, you were in the office, Rick, when we were having the big argument about should we close to China, and that was in January. That was really early, and I was the only one that wanted to do it. I think you were there too. But
Listen,
I'm not sure
I want to make one point clear on that.
Yeah, I would like to hear from another person who was in that room.
The intelligence
I mean, I don't believe him, but
community told you that it wasn't necessary, and you overruled them. That is a fact. I don't care what the media says about that. That is a fact. You overruled and moved quickly to close because you had
the intelligence community? The intelligence community. Oh, so basically this is the argument now. We're going to make up an argument, which is that the CIA was against closing the network, the country to travel from China, and we're talking about something that has to deal with the NIH and the CDC, and all he wanted to do, remember, all he wanted to do, even though the strain coming into New York was coming from Europe by this point, all he wanted to do was close off travel from China for poor Chinese people or people, poor people visiting from China. Because if you're rich and you got a, personal jet, you could fly in all you wanted. Business travel and ships, all that shit, nobody cares. They can come in all they want. If you're bringing in plastic crap for Walmart, come on in. It's just, families, poor people traveling to see their relatives. That's what we want to stop.
You had a gut instinct about it and read
a gut instinct that poor Chinese people are icky.
The intelligence towards that end. So I just want to make that point clear for all those revisionist media types.
Mr.
What? Why would that be a revisionist media element? No, nobody was saying that the CIA was bucking this. Why did you specifically bring up as the national security advisor? You're the point person. So you were against it? Is that what you're saying?
Mr. President, are you surprised that Dr.
Yes, as of this minute, we're no longer energy independent. Has it passed? Are we there yet? Because of that explosion in the Gulf, right?
Fauci is still employed, that he still has the same job when you were the president?
Yeah, you lost your job. He still has his. What does that say about you?
Well, they keep him because they think anybody that's against me, I don't actually think he's against me. I think he's just, he's very confused. Look, he's come along with so many policies. Rick just said one. He said, no, leave it open, leave it open, leave it open. And then 3 months later, he said, I saved thousands of lives. He did say that I saved tens of thousands of lives by making that decision. And we also, Rick, closed it to Europe because I saw what was going on in Europe. And we saved tens of thousands of lives. Those two decisions were very big, but especially the China.
Yeah, you killed a bunch of people because you ignored all the other shit. That's like saying there's, we had, there were murder hornets flying. I heard they were flying in this direction. So I closed the window. I saved everybody from dying from murder hornets. I let the neighbor's a serial killer. I let him use the kitchen. But I shut that window. So even though that guy was, he chopped up half the family, I did keep the murder hornets out by shutting the window. And I think I should get points for that. And by the way, I don't think anybody should. You have a freedom to not defend yourself against the serial killer who's currently in the kitchen. I'm just saying. Jesus.
China one, because that was so early. Nobody would have even I think very few people would have done that, but that
Solo?
was a good decision. That was a very good decision.
And then it was a better decision to continue to allow all business travel from there. And it was, and by the way, 30, was it, how many other countries? 28 other countries had already closed travel from China at that point? Right.
He's been there for, 40 some odd years.
Right.
He is almost like a staple. And I think, frankly, it was fine. Don't forget.
It was fine.
I didn't listen to him too much. Had I listened to him, it would have
Had you listened to him, what? We wouldn't have had 600,000 dead?
been not so good. But I did listen to his opinion. I respect everybody. I want people's opinion.
Right.
I listened to his opinion, and then I did what I think was right. And we made a lot of great decisions that Anthony was against, and then ultimately Anthony was with him. But then, if you look at his views on masks, he was actually saying masks were a bad thing. They don't play that clip very often.
He told people to go on a cruise in early March.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fauci says go on a cruise early March. Let's see, this was March 9th. Cruising is okay. I don't know if he's talking about cruises. White House press conference tonight. Provide updates on COVID-19 coronavirus situation. Anthony Fauci, director of National, told him if you're healthy, there's no reason to eschew cruise vacations. If you're a healthy young person, there is no reason if you want to go on a cruise ship, go on a cruise ship. This is if you are young and healthy, which is, by the way, to the Trump standard that he just said about young people and blah, blah, blah at the time. Answer was a response to a question by John Roberts, Fox News. Initially, Fauci did not answer the question, one of the several from the veteran reporter. However, Roberts asked again, saying Americans who have planned cruises, including family vacations for spring break, are concerned about what they should do. This is early March. And then, let's see, followed up by saying voice to avoid vacations at sea was targeted to older people. This is Mike Pence also. Mike Pence, then, here you go, I'll show you the article. This is them all talking. If you're a young, healthy person, there's no reason if you want to go on a cruise ship, go on a cruise ship. But the fact is that if you have an individual who has an underlying condition, particularly an elderly person who has an underlying condition, I would recommend strongly they do not go on a cruise ship. Vice President Mike Pence then followed up Fauci by saying advice to avoid vacations at sea was targeted to older people with serious underlying conditions. Last year, cruise lines carried over 30 million guests, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, Fauci told Fox News host Chris Wallace, elderly with underlying conditions, heart disease, chronic lung disease, diabetes, should not wait, but right now to sort of take a look at things that are at high risk. Crowded places, getting on planes, absolutely don't get on a cruise ship. This is March 9th. This is as we're finding. This is, we've just come out of the end of February, and Trump is himself saying, let's see, what did Trump say? And he's saying, Fauci said stuff. Let's see, Trump, March 9th, 2020. Let's see, videos. These are just, okay, March 9th. This is Vox, though. Trump's denialist tweets are the coronavirus reaction we feared. President tweeting misinformation about coronavirus. And he tweeted, let's see, Saudi Arabia and Russia are arguing over the price and flow of oil. That and the fake news is the reason for the market drop. So last year, 37,000 Americans died from the common flu. It averages between 27,000 and 70,000 per year. Nothing is shut down. Life and the economy go on. At this moment, there are 546 confirmed cases of coronavirus with 22 deaths. Think about that. So remember, same day that he's saying Fauci said go on a cruise, just go cruising. He said if you're young and healthy. And this is the same time we're discovering it's getting worse and worse. There you go.
Yeah, no, he didn't want to. That's right. He didn't, but he didn't like masks. Masks are terrible, terrible.
We can look at this again. We've done this before.
All of a sudden, he became a radical masker. It's a hard
because the science came out and it said it actually helps.
thing to do. Now, anybody from our group, Rick, could not have gotten away with it because they would have played those statements over and over and over again, and they don't do that with Anthony. But they feel that Anthony was against me, And I don't think that. Again, it's sort of interesting. I had this relationship with him. I knew him. He's a character. He's an interesting guy, but he's a much better promoter. For instance, he told me he was a very good athlete, and then I saw him throw the baseball at the Washington game.
Not a good pitch. Not a good pitch.
And I said, there's no good athlete.
Oh, Lord. Let's see. Probably YouTube. I'll have to look in here. Hold on. Trump, let's see. Trump throws first pitch. Let's see. Let's see how he did. There we go. Washington Post, coming a little thing. And he lands his helicopter out there in center field. He comes, yeah, this is a big show. He waves his thing, comes over there. He's actually caught it without flinching, threw the ball, bounced it across the plate, went away. There you go. Dun, dun, dun. It's a bounce before the plate, not too bad. And then, years later, I mean, that's when he's younger, obviously. Here we got the Little League players who came. That was a little different. That was a different experience. And now he's closer to Anthony Fauci's age around this time. And the pictures from this are spectacular. Oh!
Come on, wait, I go here. Okay, good. Just stay there, I go here.
You guys can back this way if you want a little bit. You can back this way if you want.
No.
It's been a long time.
Long time.
Good camera work, by the way.
6 years, Mr. President retired already.
That's right. Amazing, right?
Amazing.
He's the greatest there ever was. There'll be nobody like Mariano. Important game, World Series.
There'll be nobody like Mario. All right, so yeah, there we go. Best athlete ever, just so you know. But Anthony Fauci can't.
Athlete that throws a baseball like that.
No, certainly not. Mr. President, you come from a real estate background with your dad.
Citation needed.
I was in one of your buildings in Manhattan yesterday.
Again, your buildings. I mean, Russian money through Deutsche Bank, but sure.
We had a tragedy just south of Mar-a-Lago in the Ball Harbor area, Surfside, Florida. This 12-story building built 1981, so before those Hurricane Andrew building codes were put into place in the early 90s. What do you make of this? Should the vice president, and I hate to say this, but should she skip going to the border today and maybe travel to South Florida, or is that something
Biden went
that wouldn't be appropriate right now?
No, I think she should go to the border, and I think she should go to the real part of the border, not a part of the border that's seldom violated.
Right.
And
You mean the place where you went, where there's like grass and there's big parts of the wall missing because no one crosses that
I
area?
think she should do it, and then she could come back and do this. Look, the border is causing death at a level that nobody's ever seen.
The border is causing death at a level that nobody's ever seen. I mean, Alamo.
Before. You have people dying in the deserts, and they have no water, and they're coming in by the thousands.
Is there going to be a call on TFG loans by the banks keeping two books? Yes, that will be the next big play.
And they're coming in sick, and they're spreading disease to our country. And
oh, now they're not only just rapists who've been freed from prison, they've also got, I guess, tuberculosis.
Just unbelievable how bad it is. And then she should go. The building is being well handled by Ron DeSantis and the group.
Yeah, that's why Ron DeSantis was thanking Biden for having the federal government pick up the tab for the initial search and rescue.
And there's not much they can do other than the first responders who have been so incredible, but nobody can get very close to the rest of the building. It's a very interesting thing because I built a lot of concrete frame, and I looked at the frame. That's a very light frame. I don't know if you guys recognize it. Did you see how thin those slabs are on the floor?
Yeah.
And how thin those columns are? And you look at it, and our former great First Lady said that that look.
Is she? And by the way, is she former great First Lady? Is she no longer? I mean, I know she's not the First Lady anymore, but she's not your First Lady well, I guess she's your third lady. I don't
like
know.
a very weak building. Well, it was a very weak building. But when you look at that thin floor.
Yeah, if only you had spotted it before then with that keen eye. At least you're not Monday morning quarterbacking
Plate.
and pretending you knew something all along.
And you look at those little columns. It was, when it crumbled, it became almost dust. There was some bad work going on over there, some bad construction work. That was not a building that if anybody saw that frame, that's not a building people want to live in, especially in a place with hurricanes and other things. So there's a lot of thinking to be done. That's a terrible thing that happened. You see that played over and over again, the collapse. It was just a total collapse.
Yeah.
But that was a structurally deficient building, in my opinion.
Right now,
Really? Guys, I mean, do you think it was a structurally deficient? I don't know. I think the jury's still out.
159 people.
I mean, I'll defer to his knowledge as a construction magnate who's hasn't built anything in 3 decades, and it was when his dad was running the company. But we'll just take it for
People
granted.
still missing. So this could be just a cataclysmic tragedy for the administration and the American people and the people of Florida as well.
Absolutely right.
Mr. President, we're sensitive to your time. I know you don't have much.
Yeah, Mr. President, I know we want to get out of here, but you're going to hang around for another 10 fucking minutes.
Time to give us, but I want to ask you one more question at least.
At least.
Which is about our great First Lady that you brought up. Can you?
No, you brought her up. You brought her up, and he didn't say anything.
Bring us up to speed on what Melania is
What happened to her? Where is she?
doing. I know the American people
Who is she?
want to hear from her.
Why is Gomorrah?
Want to see her, and what is she up to?
Well, it's very funny. She's a very confident person. She was very successful as a model. She was very,
Oh, this is the chunk we did before.
very successful. And she is low-key, but not actually low-key, but she's low-key. And
Just like Loki in the new Loki series. There's a Loki that's not Loki, that's a woman that's not Loki but is Loki. Yeah.
the people love her. For instance, I'm making a speech
What people? What people? What Mark? Where are these people?
in Ohio where they're going to have big crowds. They already have
And she's not going to be there. We get it.
them lined up. We're going to have big crowds
Huge.
tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, it's and people are definitely not going to walk out early.
And when I go there, there will be many, many signs. We love our First Lady. We love our First. And a lot of times they show a picture of a high heel, a shoe with a high heel. That's when they scammed us when she went to a hurricane, and in
We saw this before.
Texas, and we left, and she feels it all the things.
I'm jumping ahead because we already did this on another video.
It's absolutely okay. You understand, Rick. She's got a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Got a lot of confidence.
Yeah, we know she's a confident lady. We get it. Confident enough to decimate Jackie Kennedy's Rose Garden. My question is where the fuck is she?
Confidence.
Yeah.
Well, make sure
Where is she confident? Where?
you send our love to her.
She's
We're
doing a
thinking
If you ever see her,
really
of her.
great
We
job.
want to see more
she is doing a really great job as wife.
of her.
Yes, please. I was telling Rick
She's doing
yesterday.
a really great job. She loves helping people. She is a very
Wherever they are. What people? Where?
outstanding person, and
Yes, she's outstanding somewhere. Where is that? It's because I'm concerned that she's not. Where is she standing? If she's outstanding, where?
the people get it. You know, she
What people?
do those decorations, the Christmas
I
decorations.
love the
You remember
decorations,
that, Rick?
Mr.
And
President.
Yeah, me too, man. I was like, I thought, and when I originally saw Nightmare Before Christmas, I was like, how can you go further? Oh, A Handmaid's Tale. You know what we need is blood stalagmites for Christmas. That is, hold on. Trump, Christmas. Whoops, why is that not typing there? Here you go. Melania, Trump.
See,
Quit it. What are you doing? Hold on. Why is it jumping over
that.
there?
And but she did such.
Hold on. I got to do this over here. Yeah. Oh, quit it. Why is this going? Okay, hold on. This is ridiculous. Yeah, there we go. Trump, Christmas, decorations. Yeah, so this is, I mean, who doesn't, I mean, this is gorgeous. I mean, don't you want to just look like, it looks like The Shining as a Christmas theme. Just blood stalagmites. But fuck the Christmas, okay? Hold on. There you go. Let's see, get a mind. Let's see. Let's see. Well, here you go. This is I think I think this is the Christmas thing we all.
You also had a conversation with the First Lady about her role.
I don't say enough. I don't do enough.
No,
where I am, I'm working like my ass off.
I know.
That Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but imagine 100%. You have no choice.
And then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, oh, what about the children, that they were separated? Give me a break. Where they were saying anything when Obama did that?
I know.
I cannot go. I was trying to get the kid reunited with the mom. I didn't have a chance. Needs to go through the process and through the law.
But here's my thing. Hear what you just said. But instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved.
They would not do the story. We put it out. They would not do the story.
I'm telling you.
You would not believe it. They would not do the story because they would not do the story because they are against us because they're liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
I don't want to go to Fox. Who wants to go to Fox? Fuck the Christmas and the decorations. Wait, why did I lose audio on my... No, you guys can hear it. Hold on. Oh, it's on here.
I love this country.
Ronald Reagan had a quote, since you brought Ronald Reagan.
Very bad for the country.
Mr. President.
Very, very. But I've been fighting them for 5.5 years since I came down the escalator. I've been fighting them. But these are vicious people.
We know.
And I honestly believe they don't love this country. They don't love this country. They can't. With what they say and what they do, they cannot love this country.
Ronald Reagan had a quote, since you brought Ronald Reagan up. He had a quote when he was running against Jimmy Carter.
He's getting a little winded. You might want to cut him off.
He said that a recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose your job. And 1980 is when Ronald Reagan is going to lose. Jimmy Carter is going to lose his job. Do you think Joe Biden loses his job in 2024?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, ask this guy. The guy who just lost his job.
Well, based on what's happening with inflation.
So this is the Trump recession, or the Trump depression, technically. Are you depressed? Is that what you asked?
Don't forget, you haven't seen the kill of inflation. You see inflation happening, but you haven't seen what it does. I was there with Jimmy Carter, meaning I was one of the people that was, working in this country at the time, and prime rate went up to 21%, and the inflation was devastating. That was the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, that was as bad as it gets. We're gonna top those numbers, or we're gonna come pretty close to topping those numbers. Look, we're in for a period where lumber costs you twice as much now.
Jesus Christ! Like, if you just keep up, this isn't even. Nobody's even still with this. I mean, like, dude. Lumber prices dive more than 40% in June. Biggest monthly drop on record. Timber! Lumber prices are falling fast. 1 day ago. Jesus.
Where, when I
Does somebody not catch him up on the talking points that he's using that just die? I guess not.
It was $1.87 a gallon for gasoline.
Yeah, it was amazing how cheap it gets when no one goes anywhere.
$1.87. Now it's $3.50, and this is 6 months, or it's not a long period of time.
Right.
Yeah, and people are driving again, and all the companies are making up for the money they lost during the pandemic.
But the time does fly.
Yeah, I want to say that I thought I had that in there. Hold on. Do I have? It's gonna drive me crazy. Now I've got it. Now hold on. This is gonna make me nuts. Okay. Do. No, I don't want that right now. Anyways, boink. I'm looking for something. Give me 1 second. Because I lost. There you go. Okay. Whoops. Go away. Thank you. There it is. And there you go. And I'm not gonna be able to find where it was. There we go. I'm downloading something. Give me a second. And then let's see. Back up here. I don't know what the date was on it because I lost one of my. Let's see, back up one more. I'll try this one. Nope, that's it. Okay, close, very close. Give me a second. Just hang out. It's all right. Let's see, this guy. Let's just grab them all. Who cares? I think it might have been in March. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm just fixing something.
Fly, I will say that, and we're working very hard on it. And we're also working very hard, not only for 22 and 24, but we're working very hard to show the corruption of what took place in 2020. And then we see what happens. But
then you lose all over again.
Georgia they had a big victory yesterday in court, as you probably heard and
We're watching
are reporting.
that closely.
Yep.
Georgia, that was a big victory, and Arizona is going. Those senators are great patriots. I'll tell you, Karen Fann and Borelli and all of these senators, they are great patriots, and they'll be recognized as such, what they're doing with the forensic audit.
Yeah, they're going to go down in history. Yeah, the forensic audit thing, especially in modern era, nobody's going to remember the fact that they gave all the voter roll information to some asshole in Montana. Nobody's going to remember that they had to buy new voting machines because they left them unsecured. Nobody's going to remember that the ballots that were in the cages that weren't supposed to be taken from the cages, that they only had 2 people who were allowed to even go in the cages, were being carried out by one of those people and left outside for lengths of time. No, I mean, look, if Democrats did this, you would give them just as big a pass. I know.
Audit. And it's starting now in Pennsylvania. You have some great senators up there. It's starting in Wisconsin. I think the people running the Senate in Michigan, they'll be overthrown because I really believe they are. There's something very, very wrong going on in Michigan. Detroit was one of the worst places, maybe the single worst place in the United States, and they're trying to pretend that nothing happened.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate all the hair comments today. I appreciate it, guys. And in reality, I wish I'd done more with it. I did throw a little mousse in it today, but it was in a ponytail up until showtime. So it's starting to get enough weight on it. When I put it back in a ponytail, it actually falls as opposed to, it just like perky like Molly's tail.
Detroit was so, and it always has been very, very corrupt with respect to elections. Probably.
Yeah, all of it. Probably something about the people there. They're a certain, I don't know, color, I think.
The worst in the country. And the Republicans there are trying to throw it under the rug. So
that's right. Yes, let them have it. Please, yeah, don't, yeah, for a second.
gave us Motang.
Yes, go after the Republicans there.
I think they'll be primaried and you get them out of there because they're
Yeah, get them out of there. Go after them. I mean, before you even start on any of the other, I mean, honestly, you know, for God's sake, please, just like go after the Republicans. Attack.
they're no good. But there's
no one should be afraid of
there's tremendous
transparency.
work going on in 2020.
No
Yeah,
one should be
it's
Know
great
about
work.
it to go forward.
Yeah, no one should be afraid of the transparency. It certainly shouldn't be a threat. Mr. President, I know you have to run.
Yeah, the transparency about that farm in Montana where all the voter information for all the Arizona voters was taken. You mean that kind of transparency? I mean, all the photos we've seen inside that guy's lab/barn.
Run. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsmax. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Oh, he's getting booted by his own dude.
And all the best to Melania.
Well, thank you for doing such a great job, and I will see you soon, Rick and Rob, and everybody. Have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, that
Yeah, that was amazing.
was the 45th President of the United States there, Donald J. Trump, joining.
And he shall be known that forevermore.